Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is TamezTech and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be taking you to the Ultra League. I was a little bit sick of the Jungle Cup. It's not necessarily a terrible meta, but I mean, we have already played it before, right? This is the second rotation we have of the Jungle Cup in this season alone, so I kind of wanted to go and try something different. I don't really have a lot of Ultra League Pokemon. I think in total I have about 25 Pokemon that are built and ready to use, as opposed to about 200 for the Great League. So definitely a little bit less flexible when it comes to Ultra League. But I did build a team that apparently was extremely strong into the Ultra League meta. This team was able to help me climb about 240 something ELO in one day. I did do 2 more sets the next day that I didn't stream or record, but we climbed a little bit more there. Honestly, this team did really well. Let's check out what we got. We got Empoleon in the lead, obviously Metal Sound, Hydro Cannon, Drill Peck. We have Florges in the save swap. You can run Chilling Water Trailblaze if you want. I just feel like Moonblast was pretty crucial in a lot of situations where I needed to land a lot of damage before getting to a second move, right? If you have Trailblaze, you can Trailblaze twice and that'll do about as much as a Moonblast, if not a little bit more. But you do have to keep in mind that that would cost you 3 extra fairy winds, right? So and yeah, and we got Togekiss in the back. So this is a steel double fairy line. You guys know that I am in love with ABB lines, and they are a little bit more flexible to play. So since I didn't have a lot of Pokemon, I figured I'd try this line out, and yeah, let's see how we went. Like I told you guys already, and from what you have seen in the thumbnail, we did do pretty well with this team. But in the first game, we see not only our worst core breaker, but I did not TM my Empoleon. My Empoleon is a freaking Steel Wing, which is definitely the worst case scenario here. I do want to point out Bellybolt lead is crucially terrible for this line. Empoleon lead is also a little bit difficult. But when Bellybolt is on Sucker Punch, it does make it a little bit more manageable for our backline. Resisting that fast move pressure and Bellybolt having pretty bad pacing with Sucker Punch as opposed to Thundershock is pretty decent for us. We land the Hydro Cannon and we pivot into our Florges. Our opponent responds with a Kyurem, and I'm thinking, man, maybe we have some play left here. I can still survive a Glaciate comfortably, and if I full send another Moonblast, my opponent will be completely out of shields. I can even bring in Empoleon and force him to either throw energy or pivot back into Bellybolt so we can bait it back out. So we will bring in Empoleon here. My opponent does bring back in the Bellybolt, and this is totally fine by me, right? I can just bring in the Togekiss here. Of course, we're going to be shielding these parabolic charges because they would do a lot of damage. My biggest worry right now is that Kyurem is still alive, which is why I didn't bring in my Florges here. I can outpace this Bellybolt to the Dazzling Gleam. Aura Sphere after that buff to their defense will not knock out. And as you can see, not even the Dazzling Gleam will be able to knock out. I can't really shield this move because that Kyurem can get to a Glaciate, and that would do a lot of damage. My opponent does bring in Florges here, and I am able to cap tie them. They throw the Chilling Water instantly. We are going to throw the Dazzling Gleam, which does quite a bit of damage. But unfortunately, as you guys can see, we are kind of running out of HP here. I can't really shield a Chilling Water. That would be pretty bad for us. My opponent brings in their Kyurem. And yeah, just being debuffed with this Glaciate is pretty tough. I have to overfarm quite a bit here, but I also can't throw a Chilling Water because Chilling Water wouldn't knock out. I am going to take my chances here. This is really the only win con I have, Chilling Water and knocking out the Fairy Wind. But unfortunately for us, that Glaciate debuff is going to be the death of us. Honestly, we made it extremely close considering we were on Steel Wing and Empoleon. But regardless, definitely don't run Steel Wing. Please run Metal Sound. All right, we see Shadow Caesar in the next match, and I know this opponent likes running Zygarde Bellybolt in the back, so we have to be a little bit careful of that. Shout out to Crispy there. But yeah, they let go of the first Hydro Cannon, which I would consider a severe misplay because we have Double Fairy, and this Caesar would completely cook our backline. So I'm just going to overfarm slightly here. I don't have to respect the first Trailblaze. Bullet Punch is double resisted here, so it's not really going to be doing too much damage. My opponent does bring in Bellybolt instantly, and again, I mean, it is a little bit of a positive here to know this opponent's team. We know that they have a Zygarde in the back. They might not know that we have a Togekiss in the back, so they probably don't want to bring Zygarde into this matchup. So we can very confidently just stay in here against this Belly Bowl. I still don't have to be shielding these parabolic charges. And I should be able to get to a Moonblast before they get to a second parabolic. My opponent actually catches the Moonblast onto their Zygarde. And you guys already know, I mean, Togekiss is the hardest wall to Zygarde in the entire game. Zygarde can literally not throw anything that isn't resisted or even double resisted into Togekiss. Dragon Tail is going to be double resisted, Crunch is going to be resisted, Earthquake is going to be double resisted, Outrage is going to be double resisted. Absolutely crazy. I'm going to farm up to 100 energy and fully undercharge this Aura Sphere so I can get even more energy out of this matchup. I did want to avoid taking another Crunch if I could, just in case I did have to survive a Parabolic Charge, but it looks like my opponent understands that this game is completely over. This Togekiss had an insane energy lead into this Belly Bowl, and regardless of them having a type advantage against us, we would be able to take that game. On to the next lead here. We have a pretty positive lead. We see Florges in the lead. My opponent swaps into Swampert, and we make a decently quick swap into our own Togekiss. Unfortunately, not quick enough, but regardless, we should be able to guarantee this matchup, keep switch advantage here. You could argue that I should have just full sent the Gleam here. It looks like a lot of people do not respect Togekiss having Gleam. This was one of the earlier battles, so I wasn't very brave in just full sending here. But regardless, we can confidently tank a Sludge, shield the second, come out with a bunch of energy for this Florges. And if this Florges wants to knock us out before taking a second Dazzling Gleam, they're going to have to throw energy. They cannot afford to let us get to another Gleam because they'll either have to shield or just get fully knocked out. We can easily just let this go. I'm a little bit nervous of what could be in the back, but it is a Torterra. This isn't necessarily an amazing matchup for us, but we still do have a shield. We don't really have to be too worried about the damage output from them here. I can easily just shield the first one. My opponent, they do make a pretty decent play here. They go for the Sand Tomb, so I do get a little bit scared because they can put a lot of work into us with those Frenzy Plants. Thankfully though, that Florges isn't really going to do much into my Empoleon. My opponent tries to catch a move here, which isn't ideal, and I do make a pretty crucial misplay here. I should always overfarm to the back-to-back and then throw, right? Just so I have a move ready for this Torterra. Unfortunately, I don't do that. But unfortunately for my opponent, for some reason, they go for a Sand Tomb instead of committing to the Frenzy Plant. I'm able to force a shield here, and believe it or not, Florges does win this charge attack priority. It is by very, very little, and it is kind of IV dependent, so we do have to be a little bit aware of that. But regardless, we do win this charge attack priority. My opponent looks like they have forced closed the app. They are not dealing with my bullcrap, and they are going to leave. But yeah, GG's to them there. As you can see at the bottom right, 2650 is around the ELO we are at. We climbed all the way to 2838, I believe. And we were even lower before I started recording these battles. So honestly, very decent climb with this team. We see Typhlosion in the lead, and I don't want to stay there with my Empoleon because Thunder Punch would do a lot of damage, and they do outpace. So I don't really want to deal with that. I'm just going to bring in my Florges, bait something out if I can. My opponent brings in their own Florges, which I believe is kind of a misplay. They're just trying to find some use for it. I should be able to get to this Chilling Water, and I'm just going to debuff this Florges, right? Bring their Trailblaze damage back down. I don't want to do a lot of damage because I need this full Metal Sound farm down. If my opponent wants to Chilling Water me here, that is totally fine. I'm just going to get more farm, buddy. Typhlosion is still not going to be able to tank a Hydro Cannon regardless. So that Chilling Water debuff doesn't really do much for my opponent there. We come out with 8 Metal Sounds, which means that we can do 2 in the move, 2 in the move again. My opponent brings in Zygarde, and oh buddy, I am so sorry to tell you that you have lost this game. We have once again the hardest counter to Zygarde in the entire game. Togekiss will be able to cleanly just come into this matchup and overfarm severely here. We are never baiting. There is no point in us ever baiting the Dazzling Gleam here. We can overfarm again up to almost 100 energy, full send the Dazzling Gleam. This shouldn't really knock out yet, but even if it doesn't, we can just throw an Aura Sphere into this Typhlosion. Unfortunately, we couldn't swap out just yet there, but my opponent, they make a little bit of a misplay here. Instead of instantly throwing the Thunder Punch, trying to get a catch or a shield, they actually do another Incinerate, and they do another Incinerate. This means that, I mean, I still have both of my shields. This game is completely over here. I mostly cap-tied there just to avoid having to shield twice. But yeah, my opponent was just not having it. So that's going to be a GG's to them. On to the next battle here. We see Caesar in the lead once again. And like I'm saying, this is not a bad matchup for us. My opponent actually tries for a catch onto Golisopod, which is respectable, but regardless, we should be able to either get a lot of damage or a shield with our Drill Peck. My opponent instantly throws a move just to guarantee that they can burn the clock as much as they can, but we are a little bit smarter than that. The fact that we landed that that Drill Peck means that we can tank 2 Aqua Jets and fully farm down this Golisopod. Now, I don't really know my damage ranges with Togekiss that well, so I do throw the Dazzling Gleam here. It only does about 6 less damage than Aura Sphere, so not too crazy, but unfortunately, yeah, I do throw the wrong move there. Regardless, it is a Gastrodon in the back. I just have to keep the HP on my Empoleon as much as I can, and we should be able to win this game. My opponent probably doesn't want to expend any shields on their Gastrodon, so I'm very safe to full send the Moonblast here. And honestly, at this point, I should even be able, even with this Water Pulse, I should be able to get to a Chilling Water. So unless my opponent throws energy here, they are going to get permanently debuffed. They do not throw energy, which means that I can debuff them with a Chilling Water here that they are going to shield. I try to swap out, but my clock isn't up quite yet. And this is just going to be a very easy game at this point. We can always no shield the first Trailblaze. It's even debuffed here, so now we can start shielding moves. We have a 2 shield advantage into this Caesar. We just have to get to the back-to-back Hydro Cannons. It might be a cap tie, it might not. It really doesn't matter. Caesar cannot outpace us to the back-to-back moves here, and we should be able to take this game pretty comfortably here. Regardless, a little bit scary there, but the Golisopod save swap from my opponent was pretty nice for us. All right, on to the next game here. We got Stunfisk in the lead. Yet another problematic Pokemon. Honestly, I might be inclined to try a ground type lead with this team, just because being so ABA weak to electric definitely had its problems. I will say though, not a lot of Ufisks cap tied me there. They would always let me pivot out, which was definitely ideal for me. Maybe they just always thought we were trying to make a catch or something like that, but regardless, it was really nice to be able to save Empoleon, throw out Florges, maybe tank a move or 2. It doesn't really matter. We are just trying to bait out another Empoleon or another Steel type that might be a problem for our Togekiss. My opponent throws a Chilling Water here that will not knock out. And I'm going to full send this Moonblast. I don't really need switch advantage here. Both of my Pokemon are going to have a pretty terrible time into that Ufisk. So if I can gain any type of shield advantage, that will be decent for me. I'm going to bring in Empoleon here. I should get a full Metal Sound farm down from my opponent, especially if they do let it happen. That is completely decent for me. I should be able to win Cap Tie against that Ufisk, and they are at a range where Hydro Cannon will knock them out here. So they do shield up that move. It looks like they didn't cap tie us quite yet, but I should be able to double shield here just to get rid of this Ufisk. It seems like they're pretty scared of our Empoleon, and it looks like our opponent might have miscounted our energy. They actually play to a CMP tie. They do not win, and that is going to be a GG's to them. They have a Togekiss in the back. We have our own Togekiss with a shield advantage, so that game is completely over there. GG's to my opponent. That Ufisk was insanely scared. On to the next match here. We see Talonflame in the lead, and we do have a pretty positive matchup here. My opponent, however, they do 2 Incinerates, and they swap out into a Cresselia. Honestly, I fear like I might, maybe I should have thrown a move here just to guarantee that 2 Dazzling Gleams knocked out. But regardless, I'm kind of just throwing away Togekiss here, right? My moveset is completely walled by Talonflame, so If I can just throw away Togekiss here, maybe get a shield or a health or something advantage out of this matchup. I know that my Florges can also deal with that Talonflame if need be, right? So I'm going to bring back in the Empoleon here. A Hydro Cannon plus a few Metal Sounds should be able to knock out this Cresselia. Honestly, they probably do get to another move here, so I have to play to the Cacti after getting to the back-to-back Hydro Cannons here. My opponent could shield this and get their move off, but they choose not to. We still have quite a bit of energy on our Empoleon, thankfully. Talonflame still needed one more Incinerate to get to the move here. And they actually throw an alignment here, which they didn't have to, but they might have lost track of our energy. If they don't throw an alignment there, they can actually really maximize their energy and be quite a nuisance to my Empoleon. But since they don't, that means that I can actually outpace to the next move, bank energy on my Empoleon. I should be able to get to another Hydro Cannon into whatever they have in the back. I bring in Florges here. My opponent does let me get a bunch of Fairy Winds through here, and just keep that in mind. That Talonflame should be at 1 HP. If they do not have a charge move, they will get knocked out by a singular fast move, any resisted fast move for my entire remaining lineup here. My opponent does have a Florges in the back. I do have to shield up this Chilling Water, and at this point, since they no-shielded the first Moonblast, I should be very comfortable to go for Chilling Waters of my own here. I can get to a second Chilling Water here. Unfortunately, we are debuffed though, so this might not knock out. But I do have a very safe play here. I should be able to overfarm a little bit. Catch on Empoleon. We do land a Metal Sound, which is extremely ideal for us. My opponent, though, they clap back with a very good play. They throw Trailblaze to try and knock us out with a Fairy Wind. It does not knock out. We knock out the Talonflame with a single Fairy Wind. And man, that game was absolutely ridiculous. Honestly, it got pretty close there in the end game, but thankfully we were able to bring that back. All right, we see quite a terrible lead in the next match. Virizion. We have two answers to this Pokemon, so I like to do 2 Metal Sounds just so we don't take that second double kick, and we have a little bit of residual energy. My opponent does bring Empoleon, which is quite a hard answer to us. Sometimes I wish maybe I would have swapped in Togekiss, just because we could always outpace the Empoleon to the double Aura Sphere, and they would do a lot more damage, but Florges is severely tanky as well, so I should be able to get to a Moonblast plus a Chilling Water. Just facilitate this matchup for my own Empoleon in the back. I do give them a little bit more farm than I'd like, but my opponent hard pivots into Virizion, and now I can line this up with my Togekiss. The reason why I say this Pokemon is so terrible for my team is because Virizion does learn Stone Edge, which is really, really bad for us. Here, I am going to try and call a bait, which we do. We call a Leaf Blade bait, but I kind of don't remember Virizion counts. I have not played against a Virizion in so long, and I didn't have to shield this move. Me shielding this move means that this game is already over. They have a 2 shield advantage into my backline. They bring in Empoleon and they cap tie our Togekiss here. This is not looking great. Empoleon is still in the yellow, so we still have to land a full Aura Sphere to knock it out. Even Hydro Cannon wouldn't quite cut it here. It does not look like we will be getting to a second Aura Sphere here with our remaining HP, so I'm going to pivot into Empoleon, and look what they have back there. They have a Belly Bolt. Now, this game could have still been over if we no-shielded that second Leaf Blade, but this is a Sucker Punch Belly Bolt, so I feel like maybe we would have had a decent amount of play left, especially because they're out of shields already, trying to get rid of our Togekiss. But yeah, a little bit of a misplay by me. Maybe if I knew my counts a little bit better, we could. I have to overfarm severely here if I want to have any chance of taking out that Empoleon, but this Belly Bolt just had a little bit too much residual energy against my Empoleon, and we were not able to take that game, unfortunately. On to the next matchup here. We see Guzzlord in the lead, and honestly, it's not an amazing lead just because we have 2 fairies in the back that would way rather deal with this Pokemon, so I'm just going to severely overfarm here, bring in Florges. If Guzzlord has Sludge Bomb, that is totally fine by me. I do not have to shield this move anyways. It doesn't even put us into the half HP. Guzzlord stays in just a little bit. They bring in a very hard counter to Florges here. Honestly, Venusaur completely walls our moveset here. Maybe if we brought in Togekiss, this trainer would be in a way more terrible spot here. But regardless, I do not mind getting rid of Venusaur here. We can get to a second Chilling Water here, so I mean even a third Chilling Water here, so I do not mind them throwing energy here. It's not like Chilling Water would have done much damage anyways, and this is a double debuff Frenzy Plant. I am not scared of it. I do not have to shield this at all. I'm going to keep farming up with Empoleon, and I have the back-to-back Drill Pecks ready to go. I know this Venusaur did not have too much energy, so I should be able to farm it down. My opponent brings in Gustlord. They throw a Dragon Tail, and they throw instantly, so we're able to catch a Brutal Swing on our Togekiss. This is pretty decent. Unfortunately, we weren't able to sneak a Peck there, which means that we can't outpace to the Aura Sphere before they get to a Sludge Bomb here, but that is totally fine. I can throw another 4 moves and then the Aura Sphere. This should be able to deliver a knockout into this Gustlord here. And if they shield, I can still just go for another Peck, over farm as much as I can, and throw my Aura Sphere immediately. If they shield this, I'm just going to combo play. My opponent does call the combo play. Very, very well played by them, honestly. An amazing play to make. They read me like a book there, but then they bring back in the Gustlord. So I'm a little bit confused at this point. I feel like both of my Pokemon have a lot of play into the backline. And I'm just a little bit scared of letting go of either of them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to instantly throw it with my Empoleon, and there is a freaking Florges in the back. So throwing instantly and on bad timing was definitely the way to go. Getting that knockout without taking that second Dragon Tail was crucial for us to get a second Hydro Cannon here. It's not like Togekiss wouldn't have been able to take out this Florges regardless of us getting that Hydro Cannon or not. But the amount of damage we got there definitely guaranteed the win. So thankfully we were able to get to that Hydro Cannon on that Florges and win this game. On to the next battle here, we have Empoleon into Florges. Once again, a very positive lead for us. This is very ideal just because Florges can be a nuisance in the backline. However, my opponent does bring in a Drifblim here, which I don't have an exact answer to, so I will stay with the Emp. My opponent actually shields a Hydro Cannon, which is definitely a crazy play from them, but that is totally fine. I should be able to shield this Icy Wind just to guarantee that I can debuff them. I know that they just debuffed me, which is definitely not ideal, but if I can debuff them as well, then we can kind of bring down this Astonish damage and hopefully keep alignment. I would, of course, rather to have the Empoleon on the Florges than the Togekiss, right? So I'm going to overfarm a little bit with Florges here. I should be able to comfortably get to this Moonblast. Unfortunately, Moonblast just does not KO, and an Icy Wind from my opponent here shouldn't KO either, so if they don't full send, we should survive, but I make quite a bit of a misplay here. I get a little bit greedy. I thought 2 Fairy Winds would do it. They don't. I should have thrown my Chilling Water just to guarantee switch or shield advantage, and I don't, so it gets a little bit tricky, but we make the right call. We bring in Togekiss. My opponent brings in Gastrodon instead of Florges, and we will be able to completely win this game. Very, very spooky in the end game there. Honestly, I should have just thrown my move. It really wouldn't have mattered if we gave up the farm until whatever came in, but thankfully we picked the right mon there, and my opponent might be playing it out here, but it really doesn't matter. I don't even have to respect this Trailblaze, even if it knocks out. Togekiss should be able to win Cap Tie and deliver a knockout with the Dazzling Gleam here, so we do over farm up to the Cap Tie just so we get the most amount of undebuffed damage possible. Gleam does take the knockout though, and unfortunately Gastrodon is not going to be able to do much against our Togekiss, and we are able to take that game. If you guys didn't notice, by the way, I did get the Beware costume. It's absolutely atrocious and I hate it, but it looks very, very funny, so I will take it. But yeah, regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Honestly, I do really recommend this team. I would just be really, really careful. If you saw by the videos, we didn't really see too many Bellibolt in the lead. If you see a Bellibolt in the lead, I would recommend just playing to the Cap Tie with Empoleon, and after that, swapping into Florges and see where the game goes from there. If they're on Sucker Punch, you have a lot of play still. The game isn't quite over, but if they're on Thundershock, I would say GG's. There might be a play or chances in the back, but it's going to be really, really hard. Regardless, once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please check out all my other content. Please consider subscribing or leaving a like. I have a link down in the description where you can join all of my socials if you want. So if you can do me that favor, that'd be great. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.